Hello students, welcome back to my 10 minutes math channel. This is teacher Brenda here, and today we will look into the topic of time and learn how to subtract units of time. Now, as I've taught you earlier in the previous session, we have to remember all these units of conversion. Some of it are pretty easy, some of it may require a little effort. Okay, so without wasting time, let's look at our question. Okay, here we have 4 years, 8 months. Okay, take away 2 years and 3 months. So let's see how are we going to answer this question. So as usual, you have to know your conversion is between years and months. And so the unit is 12. The unit of conversion is 12. And then now you separate it into 2 columns. Okay, so you have your years over here and you will have your months written over here. So 4 years, 8 months. Okay, take away 2 years, 3 months. Okay, pretty simple. Okay, let's look at the answer. So work with the months first. 8 minus 3, here you'll have 5 months. And 4 minus 2, here you'll have 2 years. Now, your answer can be written as 2 years and 5 months. Now, in the event, let's say the question asks you to answer just in months. How many months? 4 years minus 8 months, minus 4 years, 8 months minus 2 years, 3 months. Answer just in the unit of months. How would you do that? Then you take your 2 years and change it to be how many months. So if 1 year is 24 months, 2 years is going to be, if 1 year is 12 months, 2 years is going to be 24 months. So you'll have your 24 plus with your 5 existing here. And so you'll have 29 months. That is if the question is asking you to answer in number of months. If not, you leave your answer as it is. Okay, so let's move on to another question and see a little bit more challenging ones. This is pretty easy. Now, what if we have a question like this? Okay, here we have a question, 4 weeks, 3 days, take away 2 weeks and 5 days. Remember, the conversion is 1 week is equivalent to 7 days. So this is your weeks and this is your days. Your first unit is weeks, second unit is days. So write it down now, 4 weeks, 3 days, take away 2 weeks and 5 days. Now ask yourself, can 3 days take away 5 days? You can't. Okay, so in this case, just like how we would borrow from or exchange place values, the values from the house on the left, you do the same thing, but just remember that when you are exchanging from weeks to days, you are going to be borrowing 7 days. So from here, you take away 1 week, so you'll have 3 weeks. And the weeks, when it converts to become days, it becomes 7 days, not 10, not any other number, okay? So you must remember this conversion, okay? When you convert, when you borrow, or when you regroup, okay, you have to use the correct conversion. So over here now we have 10 days, 3 days plus 7 days, we have 10 days. So 10 days, take away 5 days, you'll have 5 days left, no problem. And now over here, 3 weeks minus 2 weeks, you'll have 1 week left. Now, if your question required you to answer in weeks and days, so that will be 1 week and 5 days. Sometimes your question may ask you to just answer in number of days. So you change your 1 week to become 7 days and 7 plus 5, and that will give you 12 days if it's going to be in one single unit. Okay, all right. So let's look at another question. Hopefully we can find a little bit more challenging. How about with decades and years? Okay, so over here we have a question, 5 decades, 2 years. So this is our decades column and this is our years column. Remember, conversion is 1 decade is 10 years. Minus or take away 3 decades and 6 years. Now you can say this now. 2 years can't take away 6 years. So you have got to exchange. You have got to take 1 decade out. So from 5 decades, it will become 4 decades. But when a decade becomes a year, you would get 10 years. Now, this is quite similar to what we have always learned, isn't it? Sometimes when we borrow or we exchange, we kind of exchange in tens because we are using the base 10 number system. Now, for decades, the conversion is also 10. So that's why you get 10 years. So 2 years and 10 years, that makes up 12 years. 12 take away 6, you will have 6 years. Okay, and over here, 4 decades minus 3 decades is 1 decade. Now, if you look at your answer, it's requiring us to just state the number of years. So again, your 1 decade, you change it to become 10 years. So add it with that 6 years over there, you add that 1 decade, and you would have 16 years. All right, so you write your answer out, 16 years. Clear? Now let's look at one more last question on subtraction. How about if we had centuries? We had to deal with centuries. Now remember, 1 century is 100 years. Now our question here is 5 centuries. So this is for centuries and this is for years. 35 years, okay. Take away 2 centuries and 45 years. Now, obviously, 35 take away 45, you can't do that. You got to exchange 1 century into the year. So 5 centuries will become 4 centuries. And when this 1 century goes over here, remember, we are having 100 years. Okay, 100 years. So now we have 135 minus 45. And if you need to rewrite this, you can always rewrite it in such a way, like since it's a 100 that you're adding, you just can write that 1 over here. And now you have the digit or the number 135. Kind of easy for you to subtract. So 5 minus 5, 0. 13 minus 4, 9. So over here, we'll have 90 years. And 4 minus 2, over here will be 2 decades. Since they didn't mention how we are going to answer it, so you can either leave it as 2 decade 90 years, or if the question is requiring you to answer in the number of years, how many years is that, then you convert your 2 decades into 200 years. All right, and that will give you 290 years. All right, so with that, I hope you can understand how to convert, how to subtract units of time. Okay, so if you had enjoyed, learned, hit the subscribe button or the bell button, and stay safe, stay blessed, and see you for the next session, and that would be how to multiply units of time. Take care. Bye-bye.